Bring us up, please. All right, this is the Board of County Commissioners. We're back in session, and we have representatives from the museum, Historical Museum, correct?
Bannock County Historical Society, right.
Okay.
I have a handout, which you probably already have, this information, but I'm not sure. And would you like one for the...
Yes,
Would
please.
you like one?
Yes, please.
Sure. I guess for the record, my name is Arlen Walker, and I'm the president of the Bannock County Historical Society. Hey, fine, how are you? Good. You're showing preference in public. No, I'm not. But that's okay. Yeah. And our director of the museum, hired position, normally does this, but she has had some recent cancer surgery and is recovering. So I'm kind of well, not kind of, I am the stand-in. And so I had the museum prepare this packet. You may have already seen most of this stuff. So I guess I'm basically here to answer questions.
And actually, this meeting here, the purpose isn't really to go over this next year's budget, but to let you know what we was thinking so that you can prepare it in a direction like the commissioners have talked, and we've talked to the clerk, and we like to hold our budget flat. Everybody's always wanting to not have more taxes.
Right, of course.
And so, but what we've asked is just kind of, for the record, explain to us a little bit what's gone well, what's your concerns this year, coming year, or gone bad, and your goal for your budget. Are you adjusting up, down? What's your goals?
I think that the budget request is down from last year, but I'm not sure. It looks like it. I think it was...
I guarantee it is. We're not putting a new roof on this year.
Of course.
So
I'm grateful for the moment.
I guarantee that the budget's lower this year than it was last year.
Right, yes. Well, it was a 30-year-old roof, so now it ought to last at least another 30, I would hope.
Yeah.
The only remaining thing to happen from that particular situation is the interior damage. And we may have to close the actual museum building for a couple of weeks when we hit a lull in the tourist traffic, because there are so many exhibits that cannot be moved. They're going to have to be draped and closed off. The one thing that the museum does lack is storage space for, additional collections and so on. But the roof went on. It's beautiful if you've been up to see it. The flashing is great, and that's really super. Our visitorship has gone up. Of course, COVID killed that a lot, but still, as a group and a board, we feel that the historical complex up there is one of Pocatello's best kept secrets. There are more people from out of town who know about it than here, so we have a number of events, monthly open meetings to anybody in the public who wants to come, where we have a presentation of sorts on some historic faction. We've sort of become, the county's attic for storing all kinds of things. We did participate in the Idaho Heritage Conference, which is the first time it's been in Pocatello. That was in September. That was very successful. Museums, historical societies, universities, archaeology groups, and so on all got together for a huge heritage conference here in Pocatello that was kicked off at the museum and then took place at ISU. A lot of good things have been going on. The roof was the major one. And then we've done a number of other repairs, like resurfacing the deck over at the Fort Hall commemorative monument, and a few things like that. So I don't think there's going to be much of an ask. Oh, we also have a new thing coming this summer. Tour groups usually come through, and we were discovered last year by a tour group that brings people up through Utah, they do national parks, Grand Canyons, historic monuments and things, and on their way to Yellowstone Park, they are now stopping every tour here for a group rate, so that's going to really shoot up our visitorship and perhaps the gate income, if possible, we hope. We also do free tours to, or not free, but very reduced tours for all the elementary schools and the private schools in the area that want to bring their children through, because fourth grade has a Idaho history component. So they usually bring the kids up to see the fort and do things like that. We have had a request, which is the first one I've encountered, to have a signer for the deaf. And I don't know what ADA rules apply, but we have a family that has contacted us on numerous occasions to bring a young girl who doesn't read well, and they want to have a special signer there for her, and we're looking into doing that. At $75 an hour, we can probably afford it. My answer to the family was, the parents can sign. Every exhibit is well documented with information and a plaque. I mean, you could walk in and just read stuff and not know it. And we were thinking one of them could just sign that to the girl, but I don't know what legal possibility or jeopardy we might be in if we don't honor that ADA request. So we're trying to find a way to do that, because
We got the same request, we got the same letter here.
you did.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I don't object to that. I can understand that, but to me, it seems a bit excessive.
Well, there's two things. Like you said, you have the signs all up, and the individual can read, and then the parents can sign. So I don't think we're denying anybody anything.
No,
on
there's
this, and
not a barrier for them being able to make their little girl enjoy the experience,
Yeah.
is my point.
And I thought we'd talk to legal about it, but I'll refresh on that and get back with you,
Yeah,
okay?
you know, through checking with the agencies that provide signers, I think it would be set like $75 an hour, which is not unreasonable if it keeps the peace.
Well,
I just, you know.
If, I'll just comment, if we do need to get a signer, just talk to me. I know where we can get signers for no charge.
Oh, wow, that's great.
so, we'll talk to legal, because it's not just I don't think this is just an isolated deal. It depends on what direction we go, and we don't want to create more concerns than
I know, and there are all
fix.
kinds of public movements out going after officialdom for various reasons. And our goal is to avoid that sort of a situation, but not be blackmailed into it. I guess that's a wrong term, but that's okay. That's,
Well, we got to be aware of further obligations that could cause.
yes.
Not that we're trying to take anything away from anybody, but
Oh, yeah, exactly.
it is a wonderful museum that is open to the public, and
Right. We have all the handicapped access we need as far as that's, you know, we have ramps entering and ramps getting out. We have all the ADA approved restroom stuff and all of that, so.
well, actually, we have a discussion this afternoon talking about the Supreme Court and ADA, and that may be a building that we could include in an inspection. If we have the Supreme Court's approval, then we ought to be in pretty good shape. I guess one question that has come up, and we've talked about it somewhat, is like your bylaws and the appointment of people to the board, whether that needs to come through the commissioners or how that needs to happen.
As I recall, if we have an election, no candidates or nobody shows up to vote, that the board can appoint in an interim situation, and that's what we have done at this point. It may or may not be, I don't remember the exact wording, but I sort of relied on our assistant to check that out.
Okay, I know that there's been conversation about it,
The-
and
the-
meeting the county's requirements to be on a board,
Right,
because you're a subsidiary of Bannock County
Right.
and the commissioners,
It's a
so.
really strange situation because the Historical Society itself is an independent body, and at one time, there was a county commission like the city has, the Historic Preservation Commission and blah, 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 and the Historical Society. And at some point, they decided just to put that capacity with the Historical Society, since it's kind of a strange situation. And you probably know this, the Historical Society built the museum, and then it was somehow deeded to the county in some way. The land that it's on was given to the county by the city, and so it's like all the contents is owned by the society and the building itself. It's, so I don't know what you want to do.
But this ask right here,
Right,
money coming from the budget of the county,
right.
says that the county commissioners have responsibility there.
Right, I realize that. And
So-
that's, I think, in state law.
Yeah. So I just know that we've had conversations about it, and we've actually tried to understand that each one of our boards that we either sit on or have responsibility for, and what our obligations are, and we'll follow up on
Yeah.
that too.
I don't think there's been a problem in the past with things the way they are. Our problem has been membership, and we've really tried to build it up because our membership's sort of aging out of capacity, but it's building up with our current drive to get the public involved once a month in some kind of historic event has really helped.
And we have a public information officer person, and she probably hasn't been utilized to
Yeah, I
put out anything on this. We put out a county newsletter that it would be good to come out there one month and put you guys at the front page.
Yeah,
Same.
I'll have our person send that in. Emma Ionicone, is that who we
Yep.
send it to?
Yep.
We have a board meeting on the second Tuesday of every month. And then we have a society open meeting on the third Tuesday that usually involves some kind of historic presentation. We just have a short business meeting at the first, pledge the flag, approve the minutes and so on. And then we've had really good turnout from the general public. In fact, the one we had this week was at the Greek Orthodox Church. He was explaining the history of all of that. We had 61 people there, which is pretty good. One I did the previous month was on prostitution in the Old West, Pocatello's red light district. We had
How was it turn out there?
we had standing room only. It's an interesting subject because that was the sole source of civic income for a number of years when the town started. But there was a whole different attitude about it than there is today. It wasn't white slavery, it was a profession of choice, and many of the women went on to marry and have families, and in some cities like Wallace and Sandpoint and places like that, they became pillars of the community, funding school things and so on. Interesting topic. Our next one is on the Relight the Night thing, which is big in the city. That would be next month on the third Tuesday, and then followed by Lance Butters doing a history of Molinelli's, which is Idaho's oldest jewelry store. And they bring people out, and we usually get some membership from that, which helps. As far as, the board and how it would work, we'd probably have to work out some language between the county and the society that's compatible to both. Either we elect and you approve, or you suggest a slate of candidates or something like that.
Yeah, we'll talk to Brian, our legal, and see what they suggest.
I don't think we've been doing anything that's harmful to anybody, but
Yeah. Like I said, we have so many boards, and we're just looking at each one, and then as we go through and look at budgets, where we give monies and stuff like that, what say do we have in it?
right.
So, questions?
Nope, glad the roof is good.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
Oh, actually, the little frontier town, the miniature town, And the Fort Hall Commemorative Monument, we have to call it that because we're going for historic status.
Yeah.
You can't call it a replica, but are actually belong to the city. And we have a memo of understanding with the city to operate it through the Historical Society and the museum. And then there's a really, what I think is a good symbiotic relationship between the county and the city as far as the grounds maintenance and things like that. We've had very good cooperation on both sides. I mean, somebody does the plowing, somebody does the mowing, besides the marmots. And,
Plenty of them.
Plenty of them.
so I think things are going smoothly.
Good,
Good.
good. Yeah, we haven't had, the only letter we've received this past year was the one on sign language, and I thought we'd talked about it, and we kind of had that settled.
Yeah, I have no objection at all to accommodating them if we can just do it reasonably and not set a precedent that we are then locked into.
Yeah,
And, you know, if we can get a volunteer, that would be great. They go away happy and
well, it's a facility, a place we want people to attend, and your attendance, I mean, 5,200 people, pretty good.
oh yeah, I guess the visitorship is in here somewhere.
Yeah, it was on the second, third page in or something.
Oh yeah, it's the bottom of the third page.
Yep.
It really went down because of COVID, because we were closed. That was a strange situation for all of us.
Very much so. All right, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me. Sorry I crashed your seminar, but it was kind of interesting.
Oh, it was good. It's an open meeting. Public's
Glad you
welcome.
enjoyed it.
Doesn't mean we have to talk, just means we get the,
The last one of these I came to, the room was full of people. There must have been something controversial. That was a year or two ago.
Yeah. What was
we was
that?
talking about COVID. No, I don't know. I'm not sure what it was.
Not necessarily. Sometimes there are a lot of people that have items on the agenda